All right, everybody. Hey, if you're catching live here on the on YouTube live, we're doing good here. So, come on. There we go. And I want this one. There we go. There we go. Got a little music going here before we go live. We're going to be live going in about a minute and a half. Everybody on Facebook Live, welcome. Hope the sound's better this week. And we got YouTube Live going right there too, everybody. So appreciate you guys.
1 minute
There we
until
go.
showtime.
1 minute till showtime. So hope everybody is enjoying themselves. We're going to be talking about a couple of things in trucking, Redneckanize Radio. So just hang tight. There we go. Yeah, okay, we're fixing to go live on the Unplugged Radio Network on the blogtalkradio.com. So just as soon as it goes live, we'll be starting our show. There we go.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds.
Here we go.
4, 3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
Hey there, truckers. Welcome to Redneckanize. All things trucking and then some. Hope you enjoy the show.
Well, if I can keep it on the ground when I put that hammer down, then I'll be Texas bound and a flying. I got my 10 in the wind, let it all hang out again. 'Cause how you gonna win if you ain't trying? Well, now we're all back together and we're burning up the road. And that old sheriff's out there dogging us again. He thinks he's really got it cooking, plans to do a lot of booking. The only trouble, he keeps looking where we've already been. So if I can keep it on the ground when I put that hammer down, then I'll be Texas bound and a flying.
Well, what's going on, everybody? Hey, this is Ed with Redneckanize Radio coming at you. We are live here. This is Sunday evening, 7 o'clock Eastern Time. You can call in at 516-387-1733. Be part of the conversation. Just hit 1. We're also on YouTube Live and we're on Facebook Live. We appreciate everybody watching along here. But if you want to join the conversation, you got to call in. Like I said, 516-387-1733. The infrastructure bill just passed Congress this last week, and the president's going to sign it Monday, according to the news and all that. And I'm just going to dive into it and kind of spell out a few things that it really doesn't mean much. I'm just kind of like going over the numbers, and it didn't do anything. All it really did was spend money on things that normally they don't spend money on when they talk about infrastructure, whether it be, special bridges or internet or stuff like that. Just like I said, I'll go over that stuff. But also, too, I found a pretty cool video, interesting, really, about the shipping carriers with the, shipping container carriers and all that. And that kind of stuff, just, it was amazing to me that different things that they thought about when they think about, like, uh, shipping containing companies, the shipping container companies, and the big ships and all that related to the trucking carriers. And they spelled out some differences, and they talked to a few truck carrier owners and all that. So I thought it was really interesting the way they thought about that stuff. So I was going to just think about things like that and see how people might find that interesting. I thought it was. So anything like that, we'll get right along there. But other than that, we're just talking about, trucking in general. If you want to, like I said, anything you want to talk about, just let us know. And we're glad to get things going along here. Like I said, you can check us out, redneckanize.com. And don't forget to check out a few of our great sponsors. One we'd like to thank is DPF Regeneration. Those guys have been with us since the beginning. And, I mean, if you're a big fan of the show and a lot of people that we know in the trucking industry, you know that DPF Regeneration supports a lot of the stuff that goes on, the truck shows and entertainment and everything in that regards. So DPF Regeneration, if you guys don't know, they're the ones that sell all those special like SCR units, EGR coolers, catalyst mufflers, diesel particulate filters, all that kind of stuff. And you can even send your filter to them, and then they'll clean it in their special laboratories and then get it back to you. It's pretty interesting stuff. You give them a call at 800-634-3010 or check them out at dpfregeneration.com. And when you talk to them, make sure you let them know you appreciate them supporting Redneckanize, because really, really do appreciate them. So we're just kind of trucking a lot along here, and like I said, get things going. So like I said, listen along, call in 516-387-1733. Redneckanize Radio.
This week's episode is sponsored by LTR Transportation. Come be part of a great carrier celebrating a new year with new trucks and new growth. Check them out at ltrtransportation.com or give them a call at 720-277-0030. Thank you, LTR, for being supporter of Redneckanize. Redneckanize, common sense solutions for an uncommon world.
All right, everybody. Hey, welcome back. Hey, this is Ed with Redneckanize Radio. Like I said, we're live here every Sunday evening at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. You can call in at 516-387-1733 to be part of the conversation. And like I said, we're just trucking right along. That's what we do, is we talk about the trucking industry and what's happening in the world today, and, really anything any drivers want to talk about and that concerns them. Anybody doesn't know about Redneckanize, we started out going to the truck show out there in Louisville, Kentucky, and that's pretty much been our main gig here for the last going on 8-9 years now. The pandemic's kind of screwed us up on that, so not real sure about keeping up with everything on that, how it goes. But other than that, we've been trying to get the word out to everybody about Redneckanize and about what we do at the truck show, where we really just set up a tent and kind of cook food and kind of create that little camaraderie of just a group of truckers being able to get together and have a good time. When we first got to the truck show, actually we met there. That's the first time that we ever met each other in person. So when we first got there, a group of truckers, we kind of just wandered into the truck. I want to say the truck parking lot over there. What do they call it? The one it used to be Papa John's. Now it's a Cardinal Stadium parking lot. That's where we started. We kind of just wandered over there. You kind of park wherever you're kind of trying to find a place. What really messed us up was a couple of drivers came over there, walked over to our trucks and said, "Hey, you're parked the wrong way. You need to park a different way." And and come to find out, we really shouldn't have done that. It was really silly the way we parked, uh, and we should have done it differently. But what we all try to do is kind of come together and do what's best for the parking lot and everything. And we don't really want to. The driver just kind of told us to park to where he wanted us parked. That way, it would create a situation where he could be able to like rope off an area for himself and everything. So it's kind of weird. But what we do is we get over there and we kind of set up in a corner and try to stay out of everybody's way and create more parking spots by compacting everything together. We were told to do that by the people that were actually in charge of the show, so we did that. And now it's like, everybody loves it. We set up a big tent. We got a big grill. Uh, Last year we had, or not last year, but 2019. When I talk about last year, 2019, we had a stage. It started raining. We just moved everything in the tent, so everything was great. Um, this year we're hoping to be even bigger, but you never know. We just kind of go with the flow on that. We will have a booth inside. We've already set that stuff up, so that's going to be a great thing, and we appreciate uh, everybody's support for helping us get that done. And that's just been truckers coming together and raising the money, getting sponsors, stuff like that. So when 2020 hit and everything got canceled, that's all we had was a truck show. So what are we going to do? We need to stay relevant. Sponsors want us to be relevant and everything. So we started, hey, you know what? We're on social media already. Let's go ahead and create something where we can be on social media more. And then we found Unplugged Radio Network, and they said, hey, you guys can come on here and do a weekly show. And I was like, hey, yeah, that's great. Let's do it. So here we are. And it's going on about 6 months now that we've been, kind of staying regular on this. And I really enjoy it, talking about trucking and staying up to date on what's going on in the trucking industry and trying to just learn a lot of stuff. You just never know. So stuff like that is really great. Uh, we will be getting, uh, like I said, ready for the show. We've already started doing that, and we've had meetings with the volunteers and members of our group here, and just try to get things squared away where we're going to be ready. Uh, if anybody wanted to be part of that, like I said, just give us a holler. Uh, we got emails and everything. We just go to our website. You can see that there's information how to get a hold of us and everything. You just give us a holler on there if you want to try to help out with that. We're always interested in people wanting to help out and get along and everything. And if you got any plans for sponsors or anything like that, anybody wants to, help us out with financing, that's great too. Because that's the hardest part is raising money. Because for the last 8 years, it's just been us truckers. We just been pulling our own money together, and only recently here have we had sponsors that have been able to help us out in really good ways. And that's, you know we just want to try to make them happy and let them get the word out for them and everything like that. And uh and speaking of which, well, might as well go ahead and talk about one of our sponsors, and that's the Trucker Tools app. So those guys, you know they came to us because they said, hey, we're just trying to get the word out to everybody. We're new and nobody really knows us and everything, but we're like an all-in-one app. So I started messing with it, and it was really cool. So it's basically one of those things where you can book freight and track freight, right? But it also has ways where you can find like maintenance facilities, or you can find fuel stops, get the fuel prices, stuff like that. And it's also even got a place where you can find parking. They've teamed up with a couple of people that provides parking, where the landowners or parking lot owners can upload that they've got spots available, and then let the drivers know, and you can do that through the Trucker Tools app. And uh and there it's been, in my opinion, it's just been great stuff. I'm not really sure how the technology has been worked out, since I haven't used the parking system yet. But hey, whatever helps, I think. But the cool part about it is Trucker Tools. You download it off the App Store. Like if you've got, the Google Play or Apple App Store, you download the app from there. And then once you're signed in and everything, and then what they really like is they like when you review it, when you tell them what you think about the app when you're using it. And a lot of times, if something may not be working right with it being your phone or whatever system you're using, or maybe an internet signal, whatever, they'll always try to go in and help out. They're really quick responsive for that, and that's really good that they do that. So So check them out at truckertools.com, or like I said, download their app and then give them a good review. Let them know what you think, and make sure it's detailed where you tell them exactly what you're doing with the app. That way they know, where to put, more power or more technology in that respects. And like I said, when you do those reviews, you let them know that you appreciate them sponsoring Redneckanize, because we really do appreciate them. And those guys there, like I said, they're new, but we hope to keep them around for a while. They like truckers, and they like doing trucking stuff, so we like that. So other than that, we're just kicking back, and we're talking about the like I said, the infrastructure bill. I didn't really know too much about what was going on with that. You always hear what the media, the news tells you, and come to find out, it's not that much. It's not. It doesn't do what the federal government's already doing for roads and bridges. In that respects. So we'll dive into that a little bit later. And then, like I said, there was a video on CNBC put a video out on YouTube about the trucking freight, like trucking carriers, and then the shipping carriers, like with the ships and the shipping containers. They're totally different industries. But why? Why is that? Because they do basically the same thing. And that was pretty interesting. And I posted that. I shared that on the Facebook page for the Redneckanize. And if you had a chance to look at that, we really do appreciate you checking those things out. And again, we're just trying to get the word out. You go over to subscribe to our YouTube channel, you do that. You can also like a Facebook page, follow us on Instagram. We got a Twitter, so whatever social media you're on most of the time, if we're not somewhere, give us a holler. We got a TikTok account, but we don't use it. I mean, we're truck drivers. We got jobs to do. We ain't got enough time to be sitting there making videos all day. But anyway, just give us a holler. Like I said, 516-387-1733. And don't forget to check out, like I said, our website, redneckanize.com, and go subscribe to our YouTube channel. We really do appreciate all that stuff like that. And let's see. There we go. And we're going to step away here and come right back and talk about some few things and take some calls. So let's do it. Redneckanize Radio.
Oh, you like the way that sounds? Little Jimmy Jackson is jacking up his Bronco. He's gonna lay a little rubber later on at the truck. And all the girls are getting pretty. They're spraying on the white rain. Yeah, they're gonna get rowdy tonight down at the football game. Yeah, we let it drop. When we got the money, let it blow. Yeah, if we got the gas, it gets wild. Yeah, but that's the way we get down. In a hick town. Well, you can see the neighbor's butt crack nailing on his shingles. And his woman smoking Pall Malls, watching Laura Ingalls. And Granny's getting lit, she's heading out to bingo. Yeah, my buddies and me are going mudding down on Blue Hole Road. You know, we let it rip. When we got the money, let it go. If we got the gas, it gets wild. Yeah, but that's the way we get down. In a hick town.
We'd like to thank one of our supporters, DPF Regeneration. The folks at DPF Regeneration have always looked out for truckers. Today's technology in big trucks has gotten more and more complicated, especially when it comes to those particulate filters. DPF filters need to be serviced, cleaned, and sometimes replaced, and DPF Regeneration handles it all. They have the knowledge, the network, and the inventory to get what truckers need to stay out on the road making money. Give them a holler at 800-634-3010 or check them out at www.webacem.com. Plain and simple, DPF Regeneration.
All right, everybody. Hey, welcome back. Hey, this is Ed with Redneckanize Radio. Appreciate everybody joining along and just hanging out. Like I said, check us out, redneckanize.com. Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel and go subscribe to that. Really do appreciate it. It's been growing a lot. Really, really good growing there. So we appreciate all that. And then also, like I said, don't forget to go, like I said, check us out. Well, I said that already, right? Redneckanize.com is our website. It's got links all to our social media accounts, even YouTube. Please subscribe to there. And again, I want to thank another one of our great sponsors. If I haven't done already, it's LTR Transportation. That's Load to Ride Transportation. It's a good sized trucking company based out of Denver, Colorado. Those guys over there, they when I first got onto their website, I was shocked because I didn't expect it to be so cool. It's got just all the good links and everything. It's even got a way that you can directly chat with a recruiter or somebody to even get some shipping done or whatever. But I just like their trucks. I think their trucks look cool, and they got some new trailers and all that. But they've got everything on the website here. It's got they do expedited, they do special handling, they hazmat, temperature protection, all that stuff. And so if you're looking for a carrier, if truckers out there, if you're looking for a different carrier to check out, and maybe you live in the area, or maybe give them a holler and see where they run. You never know. You can call them at 720-277-0030 or check them out at ltrtransportation.com. And like I said, when you talk to them, you tell them appreciate them supporting Redneckanize, because we do appreciate them. So getting into some things, one of the things that like I said, happened in as far as trucking goes, not much is going on except for the infrastructure that everybody's been talking about. And so what they've been talking about is they've been talking about how the infrastructure was bipartisan and everybody supports it. And of course, when you say roads and bridges, no one says no, right? Everybody wants to pay for roads and bridges. So diving into it, I looked it up and I said, well, how much does the federal government spend on roads and bridges every year? And so the Highway Trust Fund, it gets about, I hope it's over here. Here it is. It gets about 50 something billion a year. And then it only withdraws 45 billion. So it says here, this was back in March of 2021. It says Highway Trust Fund outlays total 58 billion a year, but highway spending is only 45 billion a year. Now, so that's what the Highway Trust Fund for the federal government is. Now, it doesn't really say that the federal government spends, it doesn't have does it do federal infrastructure? Does it actually say, hey, spend that money? And as far as we know, as far as what's supposed to happen is they're supposed to automatically, that money just gets divvied out automatically. So then I wondered, well, how much does the U.S. in general, everybody, whether it be states, whatever. So it says here, in 2018, all the states, every single state, totaled up as of 2018, every single state spent a total of $180 billion, 187. It says, how much do state and local governments spend on highways and roads? Well, in 2018, state and local governments spent 187 billion, or it was 6% of their direct general spending on highways and roads. And it's so in the infrastructure bill, it had a little over 100 is what it did. Now, what we don't know, and what we don't really know that details because they never really explain it that well. Is how long does that go? Like if it was 110 billion they set aside for roads and bridges in one bill like that, is it just for the year or is it spread out over years? Because they tell you when they're trying to pass like a big $3 trillion deal, they say, well, that's over 10 years. Well, what is this 110 that they just said they're going to spend on roads and bridges? What's it for? So so in general, we don't know exactly, but in my opinion, it just doesn't do that much. When you figure all the states together and the cities, everybody that works on roads, it's a total of 187 billion. So, and so I'm figuring that that's 187, and then they get an additional 45. I'm not real sure. Like if they're so if they're doing 187, and then let's just say that there's another 45 being thrown in it every year. Well, if they did 110, does that 110 in addition to the 45 that they already spend, or is that 110 so that's like, okay, we'll spend twice as much this year as we do every year? And then what we don't know is we don't know who gets it, who gets all that money, you know? So, so all of us truckers out here, what I assume is that they divvy that money to whoever the political people are that want it the most, like, whoever has the power. So a lot of it goes to, the big cities where they don't have to pay for it, or it might go to, it doesn't, it doesn't go to where it's needed. We know that because we see it all the time. So, so I just don't think it did anything. And, uh, all those other things that they say it does as far as the infrastructure and everything, it's nothing. It's nothing. You know, it's a bunch of money being spent for nothing. And you know, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Or that's all I got to say about that kind of thing, right? But to me, what I don't like is I don't like it when we're supposed to be paying in a tax every time when you go buy gas or you go buy diesel fuel, the tax gets paid in, or you go buy tags or you go pay tolls. It all supposed to be paid into to that uh, highway trust fund, and then the highway trust fund is supposed to be divvied out to who. Like I said, I don't know. Is it the Department of Transportation decides who gets it? Where is it needed? You know, if you ask truck drivers, what they'll tell you is that the highway trust fund money, any money that gets spent on taxes, should go back to the location where that tax was purchased. So when nobody buys fuel in New Jersey because New Jersey's prices of diesel is too high, they all buy it in Pennsylvania. Well, then Pennsylvania ought to get that money. And if Jersey doesn't like it that they don't get that much money, then they need to do something they need to figure out what they're doing wrong. And you know, just like the IFTA kind of thing, I traveled so many miles. That's what pretty much what it is they want to tell you you owe the state that much money in tax because you traveled that many miles. So they divide that up like that. So maybe everybody should do IFTA. What do you call Buttigieg, Mayor Pete, whatever the hell he was. He wanted to do that. He wanted everybody, even the cars, to have an IFTA where you had to pay mileage. You know, and to me, I think what he wanted is he wanted IFTA to be, or he wanted like the truckers not only to pay an IFTA to each state or to pay like an IFTA miles traveled to the federal government. They just want more money. But like I said, we don't think as truck drivers, we don't think that they're spending it in places that they need to. Uh, if you're out there traveling between like Denver and St. Louis, and you're paying the federal tax, which is 24 and a half cents a gallon, uh, and then you're paying the IFTA as well, which is each state's tax, which they're supposed to get and keep, I guess. But that federal money you're paying, that 24 cents a gallon that you're paying, where's that going? Who's getting that? And in my opinion, that should be divvied out to the states that you were there. I drove through Colorado. So really there shouldn't be a federal tax. And if there should be a tax on federal, just so you can fund the DOT, federal, like if you need somebody to pay the salary of the FMCSA people, then okay, a penny, a nickel a gallon. That's all it should be. Everything else should be going to the states. States work on the roads. States need to be getting the money. but paying the federal government money so they can divvy it out to each state. They only divvy it out to the states that have the power, the politicians. We know that. We see it all the time. You see it when we go to a city in the middle of nowhere and they've got a brand new bridge, and it's like, did you build this bridge? Look at some of the projects that they paid for, like in Chicago. You got interstate side by side, and both of them are jam packed full of people, uh, and you can't even get on or off the highway right there. And then they turned one into a toll. So naturally, nobody's on the toll road; everybody's on the other road. So those kind of things, truckers look at it. We know what you guys are doing, keeping all that money that we're paying out, buying fuel, and paying the tax. You know, and hey, that's part of the business, part of what we got to do. We can't, if we protest anything about that, we just get in trouble. That's the way it goes. So so I was just doing some math, and I think one time I seen, let's see, it was like there was a total of 3 million big trucks out on the road traveling down the highway every year. Um, and let's just assume that they're all doing 100,000 miles a year, which that's a low ball, right? Um, and let's see, I did it on this calculator right here. So yeah, I did some figuring, and like I said, if that's 3 million trucks doing 100,000 miles, that's 300 billion miles being driven every year. Now we can bump that up to four because we know we're doing more, and there's probably 30% of those trucks are probably team trucks. But just doing 300 billion miles, and let's say that all the trucks are getting 7 miles at a gallon, some are getting better, some are getting less. Well, that's 42.8 billion gallons of fuel. 42.8 billion gallons of fuel annually being purchased by big trucks. And that's probably on the low side. You can probably bump that up to 55 or 60. But even if you did that, let's just say 60, what I say, 60 billion. And you did that's $14 billion. That's all that is. 14.7 billion dollars a year in fuel tax only. Okay. Now, like one of our good founders, Greg, was talking about, the other thing that we have to pay in is we have to pay in the heavy use tax, which is 550. And so 3 million trucks paying 550. That's what did I say that was? I did the math on that too. So that's 1.6 billion. So you're up around 16, 17 billion paid in by big trucks, and they say there's like 50 billion uh, paid into the highway trust fund. Like 50, what did I say, 50 something billion. Um, Annually. It was down here somewhere. Where is that? There it is. Nope, that's not it. Anyway, it was 45. I think it was 54, 55 billion was paid into the highway trust fund, and yeah, 58, and then 45 was spent. Well, probably about 20 billion of it is all big trucks, and that's 3 million big trucks. So think about how many cars are out there paying for gas. They're probably paying for most of it, but that's still, you're talking about 3 million trucks paying almost half of the total infrastructure highway trust fund. And that's not to mention when you buy uh, a new truck, you got to pay a tax on that. When you buy tires, there's a tax on that. Like, so when you get tags or anything like that, there's a tax on that. And then there's the hut, which is different. So it's a tax. There's the tax on that. And I would like to see, there's probably more involved in getting paid into as far as states go, but when it comes to federal, it's a lot of money. And 110 billion is what was in the current deal. We don't know if that's over one lump sum or a period of time or whatever. But the deal is that we don't know where that's going, and it's not going to do anything if it's going to all these like places that that the politicians think it's needed. If it was going to the actual federal highways and going into like widening highways, creating like hurricane evacuation routes, or special uh, side, what do you call, access roads or something along the interstate, something to make the interstate better, because the interstates is where the big trucks are. If anybody out there looks at it, like there should be some type of special circumstances for truck stops to be built out on the roads, out on the highways. Those are the ones, that's where we need truck parking. Okay. When you build a shopping mall or a Walmart, or in Texas, a Bucky's on the highway, on the interstate, and you don't let big trucks park there overnight when the parking lot's empty, then you're taking away that parking that's needed. That along the interstate, that's where the parking is needed. And uh and then we don't even know if that tax revenue, that's not going to the federal government. You take, if you want the fuel, like the amount of money paid into the trust fund to go up, then you need to create better fuel stops, better fuel prices. When a truck driver has to get fuel in a certain state, they think about it. They think about, I'm going to get it in this state because the taxes are more or cheaper or less depending on what I do. So what we do is we figure out where's the cheapest. And sometimes the cheapest ain't necessarily cheapest on the board. It's just cheap. If you take away the tax, you see it's cheaper. And a lot of times, like what they'll tell you sometimes is you get fuel in Illinois instead of in Missouri when you go through St. Louis, because the taxes are higher. So you pay more tax at the pump, but then you're traveling most of your miles in Missouri, which is the tax is cheaper. So in the long run, when you figure the money is, you paid out. So what happens is when you do the monthly or quarterly, whatever, you figure that, what, I already paid it. When I bought the fuel, I paid the tax. That money just gets transferred over to the state, to the different states. But in the end, it's a wash. So but what you're looking for is the cheapest fuel without the tax, is what we're always trying to do. And a lot of times we want to buy it in certain places. Most of the truck drivers out there, they don't do it that way. They just see, hey, cheap by the pump. When I look at it, one side of the bridge is, one side of the river is Missouri, the other side of the river is Illinois. The fuel's cheaper in Missouri. I'm gonna buy it because according to the price, it's cheaper. I'm gonna do that. And see, in IFTA, it doesn't matter, because when you do the report, you've got to pay Illinois. If you go to Illinois, you got to pay Illinois. If you got to, whatever you got to do. A lot of truckers out there, they don't drive in Illinois. They don't go to Indiana. They don't go to Kentucky. They don't go to Oregon. They don't go to those states because the way they do things, the way they charge their tax. And like Oregon, they don't even charge tax at the pump. You got to pay it when you drive and when you do your report. Then you got to have a special permit. They're just totally different. They just want to do things different, and it's a pain in the butt. So a lot of drivers, they don't even want to mess with it, and you know it's just silly, stupid. Uh, Kentucky's the same way. They not only do they do the IFTA where you pay the tax at the pump, but they still got an additional travel tax, where you got to pay more money when you drive in Kentucky. So it's cheap. It's not that much, but it's two things. It's paying at the pump, doing the IFTA, and also fill out a report and pay the tax, the extra miles travel tax, which they do it in the same report. They say, oh yeah, we'll just, you traveled 100 miles in Kentucky. Well, you paid in so much money and it's called transfer here, but you also owe us another $50 or whatever it is. You know, they just add it on top. So you're always paying money to Kentucky if you travel a lot in Kentucky. So it's just silly. Um, but like I said, but the states, that's where they should be getting the money. States should be getting the money. It's a it's a vicious circle when you got to pay the federal government money and then they get to decide where that money goes. And a lot of times it doesn't go to the right places. You know, um, I always thought it was kind of funny that they were building down in Louisiana. They were building a highway like out in the middle of nowhere, and they had those Obama bailout logos, where they were saying, "Hey, this is your tax dollars being spent, and this is what's being spent on." And it was this road that, the only reason you needed that road is to get to the Walmart, and it was heavily construction, and it was one of those crazy uh, red light turns where everything was weird, and it was confusing. But then you go down the road to Baton Rouge, and they got the bridge shut down because somebody had an accident, and there's no other bridge to cross the Mississippi down there at all. So instead of creating another road that hardly anybody uses, why don't y'all build another bridge down in Baton Rouge? Why don't y'all build a bridge, a better bridge, or a bigger bridge, or a stronger bridge in Memphis? I mean, why isn't there any bridges being built down in South across Mississippi? Interstate 20. It's been a while since I've been on that bridge, but I mean, it's always been a regular 2-lane highway, and it never gotten widened through there, and it's always a bottleneck sometimes because it's a ducking and diving where you go across the bridge and you got to take a hard curve to the left, you know, and things like that. That's what's need to be fixed, and it's not getting fixed because the federal government doesn't see fit to transfer that money down there because they get to do whatever they want, and we pay. What do we pay? It costs like $100 to cross the George Washington, and then not only that, I mean, I'm assuming they're getting all kinds of good funding because that's a good bridge. That's a big bridge, and gets a lot of traffic. And I'm sure they got a lot of money. They should be getting a lot of money for all the tolls they charge. But the the executives that are in charge of that sucker, they're living in a lap of luxury. I'll tell you that because there's a lot of money going into that bridge. And again, that's the only bridge. There's other bridges, but they're out of the middle of nowhere, or they're too hard to access, or they're just too busy, and then they don't want to create, you know y'all remember what's his old Mayor Pete was on there talking about how roads were racist because of the bridge heights and stuff like that. Well, I tell you what, they don't like trucks because you go across interstate if you're on 95 and you need to get to New England, you go through the George Washington Bridge. Well, if there's an accident and it's backed up, the only other way to go is if you go over Staten Island, and that shoot, uh, it's. I mean, I've been across that and I've moved pretty good. The problem is it, like you said, it ducks and dives and curves and does all that stuff, and it's hard to just get a big truck through there sometimes because of all the traffic. And then, like I said, it's an old road, so it curves real hard around. I mean, dude, come on now. We need a way to get through there, you know, without it causing too much problems. I'm sure that you can figure out a way to build the roads to make it a little easier, but they don't want to do it. You know, that one road, uh, I forget the name of the highway, but it goes over into Long Island and it crosses down and it goes under the Brooklyn Bridge. And I mean, at one time I was like, man, I should be in the middle lane. This right lane, it's real close to that wall, and that wall is real short. And it's like they don't, what, I don't even know why. They got tons of money. Why don't they fix this? Make it a little better. Maybe reroute this interstate somewhere. And you can't get off. You can't get rerouted where you can get on a better road because all the bridges are too low. Watch out for the bridges. Bridges are all too low. Too low. They don't like big trucks. Man, oh man. But yeah, the infrastructure ain't doing nothing. I don't think it's going to do nothing. It's going to be, everybody's going to get paid that's in it. If you work up there in the DOT offices in the states, or even in the federal government, you're going to make a lot of money because a lot of funding going your way that doesn't necessarily need, because just seems that where you see a lot of highway projects year in year out, and there's not a lot of money that goes to it. So I can't see any more projects. I mean, there's a lot of projects going out there in the highways. So that's just crazy to me. I don't know. What do you guys think? So we're just kind of kicking back here, relaxing. Shoot, man. Uh, I was watching a little football today, and A lot of drivers were upset with the vaccine mandates. And of course, if anybody doesn't know, the NFL, they don't have an actual vaccine mandate, but you're required to undergo testing and all that. And if you've been paying attention to the news, oh uh, Aaron Rodgers, he I don't know what he was doing. A reporter asked him if he was vaccinated, and he said, well, he'd been immunized. And uh, the media flipped out, the NFL flipped out, all that stuff like that. Well, come to find out, he never lied to his boss. So the team knew that he didn't get a vaccine, and what they're required to do is test. So uh, he was testing, but what it come to find out, he wasn't testing all like every week or whenever he wasn't testing as much as he was supposed to. But everybody knew. No, the only people that didn't know was the media, and they went crazy. You know, so when the media found out and they went crazy, and of course, it was covered even on like MSNBC and Fox News. They were even covering it. And so I learned today. I was listening to the commentators, and they kind of gave their opinion of what was going on and what they knew and what they found out. And of course, during the week, Aaron Rodgers came out and he said, basically, I take responsibility for misleading people. He didn't necessarily apologize. He just says, you know, I may have misled you. Yeah, I understand that. You know, yeah, that's me. Uh, I did that. And what they wondered was everybody's like, well, he's risking the people at his work, all the people he works with, all of those other players. He's putting them at risk. And so you wondered, was he really? So what come to find out, when all of this went down, the other players, actually contacted or talked with Aaron Rodgers directly and said, "Listen, everything's fine. You knew what you were doing. We knew what you were doing. Don't worry about it. It's no big deal." And I just thought that was interesting because, yeah, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. Why do we give a damn about this? It's so stupid to care. If you have the opportunity to get vaccinated, you get vaccinated, you're fine. Don't worry about anybody that doesn't get vaccinated, because according to our information, you can still get it even though you're vaccinated. You're just not going to get as sick. Okay, so if somebody doesn't get vaccinated and they get it, but you're vaccinated, you could still get it. Doesn't matter. You're just not going to get as sick, according to the scientists. You could still get it. You can even still pass it to another person. So that's there's a lot of people that say that the vaccinated people are putting other people at risk because, oh, I'm vaccinated. Well, then everything's fine. No, not everything's not fine, because if a non-vaccinated person comes into a contact with a vaccinated person, that unvaccinated person could get it from the vaccinated person. Isn't that crazy? But that's how it is. And but you know what's so funny is, if you go and you called up all the people that weren't vaccinated and said, "How do you feel like that?" They're like, "Yeah, it's all right. You know, I understand. I'm not freaking out. The only people that are freaking out are the vaccinated. Stop it. It's done. Okay, we're over it. It's over with. Get out of this. Okay." Just now here, like I said, coming down with the mandate. All the drivers. Uh, I'm talking the whole time and that camera wasn't on. So I was, you talking with the drivers about the mandate coming down, the vaccine mandate for all the companies and workers and all that like that. I've talked to some truckers that work for other big carriers, and as far as I know, no one has been told by their carrior, "Hey, this is coming down the pipe. We're going to have to start doing this." No one. Now, if they did come out with any kind of mandate, they did it months ago, and they weren't really. They were just saying, "Hey, could you please?" You know, it'd be good for you if you did. It would be better for everybody if you did, kind of thing. And but I haven't heard anybody come down the pipe saying, because of this law, we're going to have to start man. And of course, everybody knew, the judges said you can't do it. Put it off until January, that kind of thing. There's even more companies. It says here that there's been like these National Association of Business Owners and all that. they filed suit for the mandate. Um, and and that's like the small business owners and stuff like that. They've all filed suit to say that you can't do the mandate. So uh, so that's coming down the pipe. But again, it's over with. Okay, it's over with, done and deal. You know, today the guy that was he was, I don't know what, the tax United United States Taxpayers Association vice chair or whatever, and he came on there and he talked about how the the IRS or the Department of Treasury is talking about how, well, we really can't stop this inflation thing. We can't make the economy better until the pandemic is over. It's like, yeah, it's over. Okay, it's done with. You know, and but you can't get anybody of power to say that. They can't say it. They won't say it. It's over with. We're done. Okay, just as many people are dying of the flu, then, you know, I mean, it's just it's crazy. You know, um, the other thing is just we're all tired of it. We got to get back to to living. That's what it's all about, is living. You know, we got work to do out there. We're trying to do it. Um, there's a couple of drivers that talked to me. They said that there's a couple of companies they go to that, you know, still have a mask requirement when you're in a certain area, but if you're out in the warehouse, it's not that big of a deal. Um, if you're they say, a lot of times they put up a sign, if you're unvaccinated, please wear a mask, kind of thing. Or they give you a list of their rules, and this is their rules, and you got to abide by their rules, you know, and it's and kind of the thing like that. And that's always the way it's been, you know, where you get to a customer where you got to get unloaded or whatever, and you got to abide by their rules, you know, whether you can't be on the dock or you got to give them your keys and all that stuff like that. We just adjust, you know, truck drivers will just adjust to that. But it's done. We're just done with it. There's no need to make a fuss over it anymore. If you feel the need to get vaccinated, then go get vaccinated. If you don't, then don't. Okay? That's bottom line. It's nobody, you know, the going to the hospital thing is not that big of a deal either, because most people that get it don't go to the hospital, you know. The only people that go to the hospital is if you're already sick of something and then you get COVID and you can't recover because you're already sick. Those are the ones that go to the hospital. You know, the hospitals are not overwhelmed anymore. You know, so it's done. We're over with. It's done. It's a done deal. So um, I haven't met a person that said that that's not true. That they say no, we still got problems. I haven't met anybody that says that. Everybody I know is done with it. They're done with it. You know, so we're done. One of the other interesting things I was going to talk about real quick on the infrastructure, and that is that there is uh, a provision in there saying that the uh, like the auto manufacturers or somebody needs to come up with technology to eliminate drunk driving, like to prevent drunk driving. So they're trying to there's going to be some there's I mean I guess there's funding for it, I'm assuming. But what it is they want technology in the new vehicles when vehicles get made, and I think it's like 2026 or something like that. They want the new cars that are being manufactured to have some type of technology to prevent uh, drunk driving. And I'm still figuring out what they're going to do, you know. And we know that in the next, you know, if they do come up with that, you know, we don't understand. I don't understand how they're going to do it. All I can say is that the law is truck drivers. Truck drivers can't drink, obviously, but can't even have it in the car or in the truck. It's DOT. It's federal law. No alcohol in the cab of the truck. And there's been a lot of talk about truck drivers. Well, once I park, that becomes my domicile, and you know I can have alcohol in there as long as I'm not driving. There's no rules. The law does not say that. It just says federal law, alcohol is restricted from being inside the cab. That's what it says. Doesn't say anything about once it's stopped and all that stuff. So I wouldn't even take a chance on that. A lot of carriers say no tolerance. The federal government says, everybody out there, if you're a four wheeler driving, and the law is that if you blow into the breathalyzer at 0.08, you're legally drunk. In truck driving, it's 0.04. So if they stop you and they have you blow in, you're driving a big truck and you blow in and it's 0.03, you're good. If it's 0.04, you're busted. So, but here's the deal. If you work for a big carrier, a lot of those carriers have zero tolerance. So it doesn't matter if you're legal. Like you go in and they stop you and they say blow into this. And as long as it's below 0.04, you're legal. But if it's 0.02, you just lost your job, because they're still going to file and whatever they do. I can't remember what it is, but they fill it out on paperwork and they send it in, and you're done deal. Now a lot of times it's whether it's like after a crash, an accident, or any kind of like inspection. But most carriers have zero tolerance, which means that you know no, zero. The law is that you know I don't even know what the cars are as far as like drinking beforehand. Like in cars, you know, you have a couple of beers at dinner and drive home. Okay. If you get stopped and as long as it's below a 0.08, it's fine. But if you tell them, I just had two beers, and you blow in and it says 0.02 or 0.01, they're like, okay, you're good to go. Okay. In trucking, the federal law says if you go to a restaurant and have two beers and then drive your truck and they stop you and you say, hey, I just had two beers, you're busted, because federal law is 4 hours. So you can't drink anything 4 hours before coming on duty. So trucking has done a lot to prevent drunk driving for big trucks. Okay. And again, most carriers is a zero tolerance as well. Theirs is like 8 to 12 hours, not just four. So and that's specific for it's pretty much just the night before. You drink, let's say you drink at 8:30 and you go to bed at 10, and then you wake up at 7 in the morning, more than likely you're good to go. So that's why they do that. Um, but the uh, the trucking industry has done so much to try to prevent drunk driving. And again, there is still issues where you still get drivers driving drunk in a big truck, even though the laws are so strict. Um, but it's not that they work for big carriers and all that. It's a lot of these little, people that you never heard of, uh, or sneaking around doing things they shouldn't be doing and all that. You know, you still have issues. It's just not as much. Now, I'm really not sure uh, how the government is going to try to eliminate drunk driving. I mean, pretty much what they want is they want zero. They want zero drunk driving. They want no one driving drunk at all. And so they want technology in the vehicle where it has to eliminate drug driving. And of course, what we know is that's going to make, of course, everybody's talking about it on the news. It's going to make cars more expensive. Um, I I'm not real sure what's going to happen here later on down the road. We had backup cameras mandated in 2018. All vehicles manufactured from 2018 and beyond, all vehicles have to have a backup camera. Okay. So here's my question. When these cars, okay, so you're getting in 2018, that 19, 20, 21. So now you're getting 4 years old going into 22. So now the car's 4 years old, getting into 5 years old. Okay. When these cars get up in years like that, and the technology, so it's got to work in order for it to pass inspection. Is that right? Like it's got to still work. So if you drive a 2019 in 2029, your backup camera has to work. What if the camera doesn't work because it's old? You got to replace it. That's another thing you got to pay for to get fixed. I mean, dang, you know. So what does it do? It makes the cars more expensive to repair. Makes the cars, I don't know. They should be cheaper to buy if those things don't work, and they got to work to pass inspection. A lot of states don't have inspections like that, so doesn't have to work. I don't know, you know, but to eliminate drunk driving, I don't know what that technology can be. You're going to have to blow in, you're going to have everybody's going to have a breathalyzer. You got to blow into the steering wheel every time you get in the car. You know, I don't know. I don't know what's going to do. But they were talking about that on the radio there for a couple of days ago. I just thought it was interesting because in drug driving, they've done a lot of things as far as being able to drink. They've done a lot of things as talk about, you know, blowing in, and a lot of companies that are out there, they have zero tolerance, all that stuff. I mean, maybe it just be that maybe they can lower the rate instead of point oh 0.08, make it point oh 0.06, make it point oh 0.04 like trucks, make it point oh 0.04, you know, because maybe point oh 0.08 is too high of a number. Maybe it needs to be lowered. Um, you know, I think maybe people just need to be stopped being stupid. What I find out in my experiences, what I've seen, just get knowing people and watching people and all that, is that the 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 less, the people that have more money, they drive drunk, but they don't, nothing happens to them. They have good lawyers, and they have some type of leniency where or like I said, they can afford to take Uber or Lyft or whatever. So it doesn't really hurt them that bad. It hurts people that drive intoxicated, that are less income, because they can't afford to go to court. They can't afford. They're going to lose their job. You know, uh, that, like I talked about it before. Doctors and lawyers, they're out there doing drugs and drinking and driving and all that, but they don't lose their licenses. You know, maybe they should do that. They got good lawyers. A lot of times they get out of it without a conviction. So yeah, it helps to have money, especially when you got those same people running for office making the laws. You know, maybe the old truck driver that got elected up there um, in New Jersey, that truck driver, maybe we should get more people like that and go in and change the laws to help out the little guy. Eliminate some of these stupid laws where it 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 affects the people that make less money. A lot of like I said, the legal system, people in there know it. If you've been involved in it, if you got money and you can afford to pay a lawyer or pay the fine or whatever, all they want your money. That's all they want. So, but all that kind of good stuff, that's all how it goes, and how it works out. And you know, it's a vicious cycle. Vicious cycle. But hey, we're just rocking and rolling here, and doing things, killing time. I guess waiting on what time is it? Looks like the new episode of Yellowstone is about to start, or is starting now. Um, I'm a big fan of that. I'll probably catch it on the late show. I was going to do a video about that, about how to watch that. Your truckers out there that want to get involved in that, that's a big deal. Streaming services and are a great thing to be able, for truck drivers to be able to watch good shows and follow the story, and without having to catch reruns or whatever. When you get back home, you can do it out there on the road in your devices, even hook it up to the TV or whatever that you got in the truck. It's really cool. But other than that, that's what we do here at Redneckanize, talking about the truck show. Getting that's Matt's 2022, March 24th through the 26th. You can register at truckingshow.com. It's open now. And we're going to have a booth there. We don't know exactly where yet, but we're going to have a booth there, and we're hoping to set up our normal parking lot setup, and have some great food and great entertainment and everything. So stick around and stay tuned for that. But don't forget to go and like our YouTube channel. We appreciate everybody doing that for us. And then one of the other great sponsors we got out here, don't forget, is DPF Regeneration. They're the ones that started it all. Been with us a while. You can check them out, dpfregeneration.com. They clean those DPF filters. They sell EGR coolers and filters and SCR units. They said they're getting into charge air coolers and turbos and stuff like that. So go check them out. See how they can help you out. You can give them a call at 800-634-3010, or just give them a shout out at dpfregeneration.com, and let them know you appreciate them supporting Redneckanize, because we do appreciate them. So we're just going to truck along here and get things done, and I hope everybody has a good night out there and everything. But just do what you do, and hang tight. This is Redneckanize Radio.
till the ICC is checking on down the line. I'm a little overweight and my log's way behind. But nothing bothers me tonight. I can dodge all the scales all right. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight. My rig's a little low, but that don't mean she's slow. There's a flame from a stack and the smoke's rolling black as coal. My hometown's coming in sight. If you think I'm happy, alright. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight.
We'd like to send a shout out to all these great supporters. They hung in there with us through the beginning, and we couldn't have done it without them. GTS Enterprises, North Liverpool, Ohio. RM Transport of Chandler, out of Chandler, Arizona. CK Hunter Transportation, out of Virginia Beach, Virginia. Peter Ramsey Trucking, out of Mountain Grove, Missouri. Dixon Transportation, out of Sarcoxie, Missouri. Lifetime Nut Covers, out of Crystal Lake, Iowa. Iowa 80 Truck Stop, out of Walcott, Iowa. SoCal Flashlights, out of Los Angeles, California. My Right Load at www.rightload.com. And DPF Regeneration at www.webacom.com. Thank all of you for your support and generosity to Redneckanize.
Hold tight with a leather fist. Watch out when he starts to twist. What the daddies used to tell them boys, how to ride them bulls. I got a jingle in my jeans, sore places in between, and I'm leaving old Salt Lake with a push and a pull. 10-4, buddy, come on back. A horse trailer on a Cadillac. Yeah, we're talking to the cowboy in the Coupe de Ville. Chugging up one side, sliding down the other. Well, I'm a lover of the other side of the hill. Turn up that radio. Don't want to think about a rodeo. Don't want to think about a roundup up in old Cheyenne. Well, it's a crazy circuit. But still you work it. Turn down that sound, boys. Let's get up and check the scan. 10-4, buddy, come on back. A horse trailer on a Cadillac.
All right, everybody. Hey, welcome back. Hey, this is Ed with Redneckanize Radio. Don't forget, we're live here every Sunday evening at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. You can call in at 516-387-1733. If you're following the conversation, just hit 1 and talk about anything and everything. Just what's going on in the trucking industry. Don't forget to go over and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We appreciate that. You can check us out at redneckanize.com. Get all the links to our sponsors and to our social media accounts, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and especially YouTube. We really do appreciate everybody subscribing to YouTube and following along and watching our videos and everything. We talk about a lot of things on YouTube. We talk about, we got some videos directed toward four-wheelers. So these videos are supposedly, well, I mean, I think that they help explain things to the regular folk out there that don't drive big truck. We got them about following distance, just giving truckers room. We got when truckers are turning to understand that, truckers, they need the whole intersection a lot of times, especially the smaller intersections. So, a lot of times as a truck driver, we're sitting there at the intersection waiting for the other vehicles to move because we need to use that room. And a lot of times they don't understand. And these videos kind of explain how to, how they need to understand that. A lot of it is watching out for the debris coming off the big trucks, don't follow behind too closely and everything. The other thing is just giving them the room that, we like to change lanes whenever somebody's on the side of the road. We like to get over and get out of people's way. Um, we like to signal and let them know that they passed us, or that they can pass us if they need to, and everything. So we talk about a lot of that stuff, and then we also have a couple of videos. We got one video talking about triangles, talking about crossing the railroad tracks, and with hazardous materials, stuff like that. So we got a bunch of YouTube videos that are directed toward the folders, and I think that's one of the coolest things that we've done here in the last year. We're hoping to make more of those. We just trying to get stuff together and get that done, and uh, but until then, we've got this great show, and what we do is we just take clips of the show, or any kind of topics that we've been talking about. Um, whether it be life on the road, cooking, eating, shopping, parking, um, firearms, safety, stuff like that. We always talk about anything we can talk about to help truckers understand more about what's going on the road, especially the four wheelers, about life out on the big road, stuff like that. So be sure to go check that out, and it's growing. We really do appreciate everybody subscribing to that and everything. So um, one of the interesting things that I saw last week, it was actually last week that I saw it. I think it's been out for a while now, but it's CNBC, and they're talking about shipping and trucking. And it says, so yeah, it's got 2 weeks ago. It says why the trucking industry is so fragmented and chaotic. And what it does is it relates. It kind of puts them together because we're in the same business, the shipping containers, and then the trucking. And a couple of things that they bring up is hiring drivers. And there's an owner of one of these companies. Let's see, what did I wrote it down. Uh, Maybe I didn't. Oh yeah, here it is. It's a Dow Trucking LLC, DOW Trucking LLC, and it's the owner out of Moore, South Carolina. The owner is Latoya Hankins. Yeah, and she has some interesting comments that I thought were pretty interesting because they were accurate, but does it really explain why trucking the way it is? And maybe it explains the driver shortage, and maybe it explains why certain companies say that there is a driver shortage and other companies say there isn't. And she had to say like this here.
And the trucking industry has a very high turnover rate.
They're always looking for the next company that's going to pay them the most. It's not uncommon for a truck driver to have several jobs in 1 year, unfortunately.
And that is right there. And we talked about that before in the past, where the the trucking industry, the experts, all those people that run like the ATA and all those, they say there's a trucking shortage, a truck driver shortage. And the reason they say that is because a lot of the people they represent, the bigger carriers, well, they have a hard time hiring drivers. And the reason they have a hard time hiring drivers is because of qualifications. They don't want drivers that have bad records. And a lot of times, a bad record doesn't even mean that they've had accidents, or that they've had, uh, any kind of other, whether it be legal issues. It's basically that they've had more than one job in the last 2 years or the last year, and they don't want to hire anybody that might leave in the next 6 months. They want to hire people that are staying, that are wanting to work and stay there. And when you see a driver that has, you know, 5 different trucking jobs in 3 or 4 years, they don't like it. They're going to stay away from it. And what this owner here, what she's saying is that it's hard to find drivers because when they have those types of records, it's hard to get them hired. Whoever is supposed to be the one that's qualifying them for to be hired, they're saying no. They're saying no, we can't hire drivers to do that. So why are they doing that? Well, it's because they're looking for the better money. And a lot of times companies promise, but they don't deliver. You can have uh you know forget it. You can have a good website that promises a good pay. They go, hey, drivers, come work for us. We'll pay you 60 cents a mile. And the next thing you know, you find out that you're only running 2,000 miles a week. Well, 60 cents a mile at 2,000 miles a week is the same that I was running 3,000 miles a week doing, 45 cents a mile. So it's the same. There's no more. I'm not making any more money. So they're already looking for another job because it's like, well, I may be working less, but I'm not making, not making more money. I want to make more money. I want to work hard and make more money. Now, there might be drivers out there that say, you know what, I'm fine. Hey, you pay me 60 cents a mile and I run 2,000 miles. Oh, that's okay. But how many of them out there like that? Not very many. Not very many. Drivers want to work, you know, especially over the road drivers. Now, see, that's even worse. Over the road drivers, you're telling them to go out, leave home, stay away from home 2 weeks, and then go home for 2 days, and then come back out for another 2 weeks. That's what you're telling them, and then you're saying, "Well, I'm going to pay you," and then come to find out they're sitting out away from home most of the time. They have to wait. You know, remember when California hit that dry spell where there was hardly any freight coming out of California, and if you went out to California, you sat 2 days. You know, or if you're an owner operator and you're running down to Florida and you're making $3 a mile and you're trying to get at least $2 a mile to come out, it ain't happening. If you're willing to wait, you'll sit there and wait for that $2 mile load. You know, but you're waiting. And as a company driver, if you were working for an owner operator that wanted to wait, then you were waiting and you weren't getting paid. And it was not your decision to wait. You like, just get me going. You're paying me, 40 cents a mile. So what if the load only pays 90 cents a mile? I need to move. I need to make money. And if you're an owner operator trying to run a truck that's got another driver in it, that's that's hard to do. So you don't want them to sit because you want them to run because you don't want them to quit. You got to run so they won't quit. And next thing you know, just like she said, the driver has multiple jobs now just because the driver is trying to stay busy, trying to make good money, but the carriers aren't fulfilling what they promised. So that's one of the biggest reasons. Um, it says on here, why is trucking so fragmented? Well, it's so fragmented. Like I said, uh, they relate it to the shipping carriers. And so the top 10 companies in the world that, uh, that ship containers, it might even be in the US, but they make up 85% of all shipping. Okay. Now, if you looked at it and you said top 10 companies, uh, in the trucking industry, how much do they make up? Well, they make up only 12% of all of the capacity. So you've got 88 to 90% of the trucks out there on the highway are all either owner operator or small fleets. That's it. So, uh, why it's fragmented is because of all of those smaller fleets. And we talked about it last week where why don't they have control, they have the power, they just don't know it. They they take whatever they can get, and sometimes they can't get very much and they take it anyway because they don't know. Because there's so many out there. I bet you 60 to 70% of the single truck owner operators don't even know what they're capable of making. They just assume that, the guy on the other end of the phone says, well, that load's only paying $2 a mile. And they're like, well, I guess that's all it's paying. They don't know. They don't do the research and understand that most, if you go to those other websites and all that, they'll say, well, the average is $3 a mile. Well, if they don't look that up, they don't know that. And the guy on the other end of the phone says, well, all it's paying is two. And then you say, well, that ain't right because the average is three. So I should be getting either three or 305. You know, if I can't get three, I should be getting 290 instead of just two. They don't know that because they don't know the information. They don't look it up. And that's why the rates are low because all these people that are trying to get trucks to haul, all they got to do is wait to find somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, you know, and that happens so often. It happens. So that's just one of the aspects of that. That was an interesting video there's a lot of information about that. I shared it on the Facebook page, and there's talking about Swift, Night Swift is what they, I guess what they talked about, how they're the largest, and they do 4.7 billion in revenue. Is or the company is valued at 4.7 billion, and it says they did 800 million in revenue in 2020, is what that video says, and but there was some good stuff on there. I'm still reading along what notes I took. Talked about the different issues of why drivers don't want, why there's a driver shortage. If there is one, they pointed out the reasons why, and a lot of it has to do with, um, they said the number one issue is health related, which means they can't get drivers to pass the physical. I agree. I could see that. They said the number two was parking and wait time. Those are the top. The other two and three was parking and wait time. The drivers can't find parking, or it's too difficult to deal with parking, or it's just wait time. When they go to the customer, they got to wait, and they got to wait longer than normal. And that's the issues that, I forgot who they said they talked to on that. I don't think it was a driver survey. I think it was a carrier survey. I guess when they, during exit interviews or whatever, because one of the interesting things about that video is it didn't actually talk to any driver. It talked to the fleet owners. It talked to the owner of Freightwaves, the media company. It talked to, those are the only two people. Other than that, they just spouted off information from the ATA, that kind of thing. So other than that, we're just kind of kicking back. Let's see. Let's just go to the phone real quick and see what's going on. How you doing, sir?
Howdy.
Man, I tell you what, I was thinking all you guys on here on the phone were just kind of falling asleep, just listening because nobody was hitting one.
Well, yeah, I was kind of thinking about that. I thought, well, gosh, do I get ready to go to bed here and turn that on and let him dull me into sleep?
Yep, there you go.
Nah, I better push the one.
I can just lullaby people into sleep. My little world's smallest violin just a playing.
Yeah. But no, I heard I heard it. I read it on Facebook that there ain't no truck shortage. That excuse me. Damn it. That there's a lot of CDL holders, but all the things that have come through the years, we have lost a lot of CDL holders. Whether it be ELDs and that whole thing, and then every hours of service and different things like that. And then the latest is it costs more to truck out here. You go to the shops, they're all higher, parts are higher, labor's higher, fuel costs are higher, oil's higher, but yet the rates ain't matching what the what it's cost for trucking out here. It's not going up. In fact, they're trying to go the other way because they got to pay extra for everything else and the rates are going down. Now, I don't know. In my job, our rates are going up. We're doing all right. And my owner of the company said that she's renegotiating now for 2022. Well, she's negotiating with the needs and what's going on in 2021 here. And if we would ever get our shit together and stuff would come back to normal, then whatever contracts that are that locked in now will benefit next year. So I don't know. It's something to think about.
Yeah. Well, looks like this article here that I just clicked on. It's Time Magazine, and it came out on the 12th, which was Friday. And it says on it, their top line, it says the truck driver shortage doesn't exist, saying there is one makes conditions worse for drivers. And I mean, what it boils down to is that the ATA is the one saying that there is a shortage because they're the ones that keep spouting it and everybody keeps believing them. But what drivers have said is that a lot of these carriers, their working conditions are poor, and I don't. But see, as I'm reading here, what I say is that the working conditions isn't the carrier. It's not the carrier that creates the working conditions. It's when they go to these customers, and these customers, they don't care about the drivers. You know, when you
Right.
like what Greg said last week, when you every time you go to the shipper, if you got to walk into this office and it's like a cage, and they don't want to touch you or see you or hear you, they just say sign in and leave your bills here and we'll call you when we're ready. It's like, why does the driver want to hang out and do that, and all
Yeah,
that,
I hear you.
and that's that kind of stuff. And like you said, like I said in this one deal, it said parking and wait time, which means parking. Drivers uh, have problems finding parking spots, and of course, I always say, like you've always said, you just got to learn on parking because I don't think that issue is ever going to go away. Uh, but
Well, I saw on parking the other day, and I did the turnpike between Oklahoma City and Tulsa. Well, the first service plaza, I mean, it was so jam packed full. I mean, absolutely full of trucks.
yeah,
And so I went on. Well, the second one I came to, they were redoing the ramps to get into place. So everything on the eastbound, you couldn't get into the place at all. So kept on going. Well, by the time I got closer and closer to Tulsa seems like they used to have some pretty good truck areas to park in, and their truck stops are small, and some of them aren't there no more. And then the Hard Rock Cafe there, they used to allow trucks on their lot. Now I heard the other day that they don't allow any semi trucks parking on any of their area. So parking around Tulsa is getting tough. So along the interstate there, they redid the shoulders and they put.
Oh man!
I noticed they had the fog line and then they had the normal apron beside the fog line.
Right.
But for miles and miles and miles, looks like they added on. Oh golly, maybe 20, 30-foot wide strip of concrete off to the side, and trucks were lined up, parked along the turnpike, right along the side of the road. Well, I didn't have much choice. I was running out of hours and didn't want to take a chance to find something in Tulsa or making it up to on up the road in Missouri. I didn't think I'd have enough time to get there. So I went ahead and parked there overnight. I was left alone. Nobody come knocking on my door. But you had the steady, rolling of the highway all night long right beside you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you're saying, what it's like an extra lane, pretty much that they made for parking.
That's what it seemed like. Seemed like that.
Yeah.
And but some of it had concrete, some of it had pea gravel. And I got a kick about 30 miles up the road. The one trucker must have thought he could drive onto the grass and then come back on the pea gravel, and there was a tow truck pulling him out of the grass. So,
yeah. Well, but I mean,
I just don't like parking that close to the internet highway. I just think it's very dangerous.
Well, I mean, there's no barrier between you and a wayward vehicle that loses control or starts skidding.
No barrier.
Yeah, just like out there in PA.
No barrier. If a truck would fall asleep and veer off the road, he could come right at you.
Exactly. And then if so normally if two cars got into it and they skidded off the road, they just go off the road into the grass or trees or whatever. Now they go right into you. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, and that I never liked that either. I
don't like that. But
even if I
do what you got to do.
Yeah. Even if I needed to pull off the side of the road and just check something, I always wanted to get off the highway. Just get completely off the highway. I don't want to be on the shoulder for any reason unless the truck just absolutely won't move. That's always my been thing. So yeah, you're right. They seem to the politicians or whoever's building the roads out there goes, well, we can't control the parking deal and we don't have enough parking, but we'll just create this little thing on the side, and maybe that's not what they intended it for, but that's what they did. It's kind of like when
Yeah, it looked like a chain up area, but I know nobody's chaining up that part of the country.
exactly. Yeah, well, it's just like in
And
Georgia.
it's,
No, I was going to say, like, I remember Georgia. I don't know if it's the last time you've been out there, but when they rebuilt their interstates and made them bigger, they made their off ramps and on ramps bigger, and that created parking on the off ramp. And then they went in there and they didn't want people parking, so they put those big signs up to block it,
yeah,
so you couldn't park. And it's like that's if you create the area, they're going to use it, and then you're going to have to put something. Then you're going to have to spend more money to keep them off the area.
yeah. Well, and then I tell you what, some of these truck stops, I'm at the Lowe's here tonight in Tupelo, Mississippi,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm looking out my left window, and there is room probably I'd say for 10 trucks here. But instead of making a truck parking lot, they put in pretty trees and landscaping
Oh yeah.
and stuff. It's like, hey, this is a truck stop. If I want to go to City Park, I'll go to City Park. I just it's kind of silly how they got all this pretty landscaping they put in.
Well, that's the government, the mandate. If you can't build a truck stop here unless you put up so many trees, or a portion.
Is that right?
That's usually how it is that when somebody comes in and wants to develop property to make it, whether it's truck stops or Walmart or whatever, they always say, well, you got to have a certain percentage, 10 or 15% of the property has to be landscaped, where trees, grass, or whatever. That's what they say. But yeah. So yeah.
Well, that explains it to me. Why in the hell would they do that?
Yeah, it's pain in the butt. Is what it is.
I hate them.
Yeah, you need to get something to drink.
Yeah, I did my Redneckanize barbecue today, and I had a hamburger. A little piece of that dry hamburger went down the wrong tube, but it's just tickling me there.
Yep. A little more than I needed to know, but that's okay.
Oh, really? I tell you, I had my Redneckanize T-shirt on, and I was making videos today of the do-it-yourself trucker cooking on the truck stop. By golly,
man, oh man!
I did me up a pizza, and some bratwurst, some hamburgers. Had a smorgasbord right here in the truck stop.
It's not that hard. People say, they don't. I guess they don't want to take the time and all that. I was just always too lazy. I'd rather go in and pay for somebody to cook my food rather than me do it myself. So,
well, here the McDonald's is closed for drive-through only. Well, the drive-through don't fit the big rig, so I can't drive through.
Man.
And you get tired of eating Subway all the time, so. And a lot of these restaurants closed up because of COVID or people not wanting to work and everything else. So I bought me a pellet grill, and I just do nice smoking and barbecuing on the road. And it works out pretty good.
And I think all the McDonald's are still closed. I'm thinking that all the McDonald's in the United States are still drive-through only. I don't think, as far as I can tell.
No, you see them.
Oh yeah,
I see them other places open.
Well, I mean,
they're remodeling this one, so
yeah. Well, that might be the reason. Yeah, okay. Because I mean, I know that there's a Flying J that has a McDonald's on my route, and it's open, but the dining room is closed. Like you can't use any of the tables, but you can go in and order. You can walk in and order, but they still got all the tables closed. So it's like to go only. So yeah, it's still weird like that. That might just be because they don't want to open the dining room back up because then they got to hire somebody to clean. They can't afford, or they have a help wanted sign out, and that's been up for 6 months.
Oh, there's more doggone excuses out here not to help you out than to help you out.
Oh yeah. Yep. Well, I was going to step away and take a quick break. You're going to hang out a bit. I think Greg wants to come on too. So I think we're going to call it a segment and then bring it back on. So we'll do that.
Yeah, I'll hang out for a while.
Yeah, good deal. All right, hang on a second. We'll be right back. I was going to tell everybody, make sure they go check out ltrtransportation.com, one of our great sponsors. You can give them a call at, what is it, 720, is it right? Oh man, I got to score. There we go. 720-277-0030. You can check them out at ltrtransportation.com. A great sponsor over at Redneckanize, and we really do appreciate them. So go check us out, redneckanize.com. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then don't forget to call in at 516-387-1733 be part of the conversation. Just hit 1, and we'll be back in just a little bit here.
Have you heard the story of the hot rod race when the Fords and the Lincolns were setting the pace? That story is true, I'm here to say, because I was driving that Model A. It's got a Lincoln motor and it's really souped up, and that Model A body makes it look like a pup. It's got 8 cylinders.
We'd like to thank one of our supporters, DPF Regeneration. The folks at DPF Regeneration have always looked out for truckers. Today's technology in big trucks has gotten more and more complicated, especially when it comes to those particulate filters. DPF filters need to be serviced, cleaned, and sometimes replaced, and DPF Regeneration handles it all. They have the knowledge, the network, and the inventory to get what truckers need to stay out on the road making money. Give them a holler at 800-634-3010 or check them out at www.webacom.com. Plain and simple, DPF Regeneration.
Used to, justice was served on the road. When evil was done, that was all that she wrote.
All right, everybody. Hey, welcome back. Hey, this is Ed with Redneckanize Radio.
Somewhere,
You can call in at 516-387-1733. Listen right along or be part of the conversation. Just hit 1. We're on YouTube Live. That seems to be doing a great outfit there. It's really easy to get set up, and everything's linked into what I need to do it. And we're also on Facebook Live here. Got another device plugged into that, so it's working out pretty good. So hope everybody's enjoying that. And like I said, was listening to a couple of things and talking about what's going on in trucking. And things are doing great. So we're going to go to the phones here in just a second. I wanted to bring up one more thing. I was talking about that video, and one of the things that she said, that owner of that Dow Trucking LLC, is how they really can't afford to pay drivers more because of the competitiveness of the rates. Let's see here. So I wanted to bring her in and show this clip of this audio that I got here. So let's play that.
The second big issue is labor. Competition among trucking companies for drivers can be brutal. This is in part because there are so many of them, and there is not much that differentiates one from another.
The employee-driver turnover rate in the industry can be quite high, about 80% at larger carriers as of September 2021.
A lot of that turnover is made up of people moving from one company to the next.
With truck drivers, they tend to jump around different companies, just depending on who's paying the most.
Hankins would like to retain more drivers, but frequently finds people are lured away by the promise of a pay increase as modest as a few cents per mile.
When we do feel like there's a good driver that we're going to have for a while, there's another company that could pay them an extra 5 or maybe even 10 cents more, and I can't, compete with that. I know that's not a lot of money, but over a course of per mile, it tends to add up.
Several of the largest trucking companies have raised pay in the last several months. Knight Swift raised pay to 50 cents per mile for experienced drivers. That means if a driver covers about 100,000 miles per year, they can make about $50,000. Median pay for the industry was $47,130 in 2020.
So yeah, there you go. So I was going to bring the guys in here and let's talk about it a little bit and see what they thought. There's Jeff. Hey, Jeff, you still there?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to bring, I think this is Greg too. How's it going?
Hey, how you doing, Ed?
Man, I tell you what, I'm getting through it. I was getting worried about you guys sitting over there just listening along, not paying attention.
Oh, I just sitting here paying attention tonight. Trying to behave myself for once.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. So yeah, we were that video. It was really interesting. It's a YouTube video that CNBC put out. It says, "Why is trucking so fragmented?" And really, what it is, what they're blaming it on, drivers just jumping from carrier to carrier because they just, they're just chasing that money. And I mean, I think that's what we're all doing, just chasing that money, And
well, I don't understand how hard is it for these companies to understand. All they have to do is pay attention. They see the drivers doing that, and when they see the drivers changing jobs 2 or 3 times a year, or whatever, because they're chasing the money, like you said. If they want to turn over to all they have to do is start coming up with some money. Start treating the drivers like people instead of like, a commodity. They're they think, well, the trucks can run 24 hours a day, so can't the drivers. Well, the drivers are getting to the point. I said it. I got a little tiff with a trucking company on Facebook, and I'll call them out. True North. All right, they're down around Texas somewhere. They're starting this company as True North Logistics or whatever they are, and they're begging. I mean, these companies are begging for drivers, begging for trucks. And every time I pull it up, I see the same questions on there. Well, and one of the questions is a question that I always have. Well, what's your age limit on your equipment? Well, they always tell you, well, it's got to be ELD. You got to be ELD compliant. You got to be it's got to be capable of running ELD. Okay, all right. Now that being said, okay, I understand that. So, well, and the one question she said was, the answer she gave this guy was, because it helps the drivers stay compliant and helps them keep their bottom line down. Wait a minute. Now, what does ELD have to do with helping the driver, keep his finances straight? That don't get me.
Yeah.
And it's like, you got all these new trucks, and I'm not going to start a piss and match because guys want new trucks, guys want to run the older trucks. I prefer my older trucks. Some guys like their newer trucks, and that's fine. That's fine. I got no problem with that. But they're complaining that they need trucks and they need drivers, but then they want to pick and choose of what they got.
I think that's the thing.
There's some beautiful old trucks running around out here back in the 80s and 90s. These trucks are mint. They're in pristine condition. But because they can't plug their electronics in and their computers in and their cameras in and this and that, well, they don't want them, because the companies, it comes down to the companies and the insurance companies are so damn nosy. They want to have control of everything. They're like the government. They want to control every minute of your life. And it's like, that's why these guys chose to drive trucks.
Yeah.
They didn't want to punch the time clock.
Yeah.
If you want to punch a time clock, you could go to work in a mill and you could have been home with your family at night every night. They didn't want that.
Right.
All right. Now, to what Jeff was saying, real quick, I'm going to get a little bit of humor here going. Him complaining about logs and their trees. All right. Now, Jeff, with that being said, there's another truck stop, 2 of them. They do the same thing. They got trees, and they got trees growing in their parking lot too. And I can't stand either one of them truck stops. I take my chances on Lowe's with a tree growing in their parking lot rather than go to TA or Petro or Pilot, because the trees that they've got growing in there has signs on them that says reserved. Reserved parking.
Those big yellow trees, those big
poles that said signs on them. That's their trees.
Oh, I agree. And Greg, I'll tell you what. this one here, Tupelo, is probably one of the earlier truck stops on the,
Right.
Love's. It's one of the old ones. The new ones. I tell you, a lot of these new Loves that they're building, and they just realized, when they built the business the right way. Love's has. They take care of the customer. When you walk in the door, the very first thing that you hear in that establishment is "Welcome to Love's."
Yes.
You hear that over and over and over again. When you buy something, they thank you. When you're in the aisle, they ask you if you need any help finding anything.
When you go buy a shower, you actually talk to somebody, and that person actually hands you a key rather than just going to a computer and getting a number to go to into a closet.
Love's now got the app on my phone, which I'd rather go get than I would a key anyway. But they cater to the trucker, and then they sell gasoline, but I don't think that's their main purpose. They really cater to the trucker. And you ask them, they said, we'll never put reserve parking lot on our lot as long as the Love family owns the corporation.
Yeah,
they will not do it.
Kudos to them.
Since they have pulled all the business now from the pilots and maybe also Pilot Flying J, but TA Petrol. If there's a Love's on the corner and there's a TA Petrol, you'll wait in long lines to get fuel at a Love's before you will, because everybody that I know has switched over to Love's because they really take care of you. Their loyalty program is nobody has a better loyalty program than they do, but they thank you for coming in. It's just nice to be, when you spend all your life on the road like most of us do, and you go into a place and they act like it's they're like oh God, I gotta wait on you, or they don't want to talk to you, or you're they pull a race card on you. And I tell you, the TAs and Loves, TAs and Petros, you go to an all white store and they treat the black guys coming in, I think they treat them like shit. But if you got an all black ran truck stop, I feel like they don't want to take my money. You ask them a question and they bite at you. You never get that at a Love's, And Love's, in fact, says if any of our our employees, let us know, because that's not what we're about. We're here to help you, the trucker.
Yeah,
and,
I remember when
putting
Pilot first started out. Pilot was the same way.
Well, and Pilot,
when Pilot first started out,
I
Pilot
agree
was
with
a
you.
nice little truck
Man,
stop.
I agree with you. When I first started trucking, that was in the late '90s, and Flying J was like awesome. Like you wanted to go to the Flying J,
right?
Because that was the best restaurants. Now they got all the restaurants closed, and they got the Subways in them now and crap. Used to every Flying J had a restaurant. Every Flying J had a large area that had lots of showers and a big driver's lounge, and they stopped doing that. Now it's part of the Pilot thing where there's no driver's lounge anymore. You can't even, like, I remember when I would always find the Flying J. That's when I wanted to watch a football game or something was going on TV. You can always count on the Flying J to have that, but now it's gone. Now that was back in the day, but I always thought that the Loves was better because they had, 3 or 4 registers. They knew that they were going to be a smaller truck stop. They weren't trying to be this huge truck stop with like all this shopping. We got what you need. That's about it, and they got 3 or 4 registers, and there was always somebody at each register. You go to a Petro or a Pilot, and they got like 9 or 10 registers, but they only got like 2 of them working. Sometimes only 1. And it's like there's a long line, but you're like, you feel like you're at Walmart. I mean, why are all these registers here if you don't use them? And
right.
At least at the Loves, you knew, well, if I got to wait, it's because they only got 3, because and it's busy. Now, if a lot of times I go in there and the lady's at the one, and there's might be 2 or 3 people waiting, the manager will walk out from his office and he'll step up to the other register and he go, yeah, I can get somebody over here. You don't see that happening at the TAs that much. I mean, the TA, the
No.
TA and Petros, the managers are off in their other buildings up on the second floor or something. They're hid. They're hiding. They don't want to be around you.
Right.
I'll tell you
Well, I
what,
never-
these new truck stops that I'm seeing, like the Quick Trips, and there's a few. I saw another Quick Trip the other day. I didn't even know they were in that state. You walk in there and you can buy hamburger, you can buy steak, you can buy. It's like a little mini grocery store. They got a huge selection of meat, but they got a few fresh cuts. They got some pork chops.
Well,
they got some fresh vegetables. I mean,
most
they
of them
got
all have the little
gallons of
kitchens in
milk,
them.
half gallons
Yeah,
of milk.
you can order pizzas and you can actually get little groceries. You're right. I love Quick Trip. I said the only thing wrong with Quick Trips is they don't all have showers. There's a few that do have showers that are in like the bigger cities,
Right.
but a lot of them are just fuel stops. They got a little bit of parking and they got fuel pumps. But other than that, it is just a small little gas station that has a lot of stuff. And you know what? You go in, if it's busy, it doesn't matter. You're going to get in and out pretty quick. Those guys not only do they have every register going, but the guy every person at the register is handling 2 people at a time. That's their thing. Get in and out. Get going.
And there's a new chain in Texas that is starting to be more like a grocery store truck stop, because I really think there's getting to be more and more guys like me that fix their own meals in the semi truck.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, there's all kind of cooking going on. I agree with you. Yeah. So, but as long as whoever you're talking about, it's not Buc-ee's, because you can't park there.
No, it ain't Buc-ee's. Them cotton pickers, I'll tell you what.
Man, I tell everybody, don't go to Buc-ee's. Even in a four-wheeler, don't go to Buc-ee's, because they don't like truckers. They don't want truckers. They plow down all that grass and trees around the interstate and pave it and make a big old parking lot, and no trucks allowed. So,
but I did see a Buc-ee's the other day, and I was shocked. It had diesel fuel pumps on it.
No,
and it had places. It wasn't a Buc-ee's as we've seen. It was called something else. Buc-ee's.
There is a few Buc-ee's that I know of in South
right.
Texas that have diesel pumps, but it's just like an in and out. There's no parking, nothing like that. So yeah, it's few and far between.
They burnt my bridges. I wouldn't go to them if they would change their laws and saying we'll take any trucks, anybody, because they are just no way.
People that I know live here go to Buc-ee's. They love going there because of course they can get anything they want. But they say the barbecue's good. I tried it. It ain't that good. I don't know. I'd rather go to a decent barbecue joint. I think
I got a short story on Buc-ee's.
Okay.
I was in Texas. I was bobtailing, and I pulled on. I didn't know what Buc-ee's was. Didn't know they didn't like truckers. I pulled in, and far side of the parking lot. I went to bed. Pulled the curtains. Went to bed. About 4 o'clock in the morning, the manager, a woman, and 3 of her male employees. She brought male backup out to the truck.
Oh yeah.
And she woke me up. And she says, "Can't you read?" I says, "Yeah." I said, "I see a sign, great big." They had a sign made as you come in. And it was like 20 foot long on 4x8 sheets of plywood. No 18-wheelers allowed. Right? So she says, "Can't you read?" I said, "I sure can." I said, "Who are you?"
Can't you count?
She goes, I'm the manager. She goes, I says, "Well, how did you become manager? Can't you count?"
Yeah.
She goes, "What do you mean?" I says, "I got 10 wheels on here." I said, "Your sign says 18 wheels."
Yeah.
She goes, "Well, you knew what we meant." I go, "No, you meant you didn't want tractors and trailers on here. So I'm going to sleep." She goes, "Well, it's illegal for you to park here." I says, "Really?" I said, "Then call a federal marshal right now." She goes, "What do you mean? What federal marshal? Why?" I said, "Because you're asking me to move off the lot and break my federal mandated 10-hour break. So if you're going to kick me off the lot, call the law. You better call the right law, because I would love to take you to court on this." and I will take picture of your 20-foot sign, and I think I would win. So I said, if you want to pursue this tonight, I'm trying to sleep, and you're interrupting me. So why don't you all go back inside, mind your own damn business, let me go to sleep. And she goes, well, I'm telling you now, don't you ever come in another Buc-ee's parking lot again. I said, I won't. And I wish I could take the $60 worth of stuff I bought from you tonight back to you.
Yeah.
Yep. Can't you read? I go, yep. Can't you count?
Which one was that at? Do you know?
Oh, golly. It was the big one over on east of Dallas.
Oh, yeah. There.
Going towards Shreveport.
Yep. I know which one you're talking about. Yep. Cool deal. That's that. And that one hasn't been there that long. So, yeah. Hey, I think I got Robbie here, too. Let's see.
What's going on, guys? I haven't talked to you guys in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, there you go. The guys dropped off the face of the earth over there on the West Coast.
Oh, no. I was doing stuff at home, and then I couldn't get a load, so people don't want to pay.
That's how it is. Don't want to pay, it ain't going to get hauled.
I'll just sit at home instead of sitting in a truck stop. Greg knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I've been home since last Monday, and I got no intentions of going out anytime soon. So they straighten their ass up.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, I was so mad at you flatbedders the other day. I could have if I could have stopped and got out and leveled this guy, I would. But I was coming out of Milwaukee, and he had an oversized load of steel on, and he started crowding me over in this little construction road. And what do? You got to get over, try to, you don't want to hit the guy. And as soon as I got right beside him, he started clapping and laughing like that was really cute what he just did.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I just don't
all of them's got a name on the door. All of them's got a name on the door. All you got to do is get a hold of their company and tell with them. Tell them you either do something with him, because when I get off the phone with you, I'm calling the state police. I'm turning him in. I don't give a damn. I don't give it a damn if it's a dry van, a flatbed. I don't care what it is, a bobtail. I don't give a damn if he's walking with a trucker hat on. He does something stupid, I'm calling the company anymore. I'm tired of the nonsense.
It's a good idea. And I'm trying to think if I even could see a name on this truck. It wasn't really a pair, But who's got time? And I tell you, well, I drove. I don't know. Do y'all drive to Milwaukee much, or in Milwaukee?
Where the hell is Milwaukee?
That doesn't go on my map. That's not on my map.
Oh, I picked Trader up from downtown Milwaukee.
I ain't thought much about Milwaukee since Laverne and Shirley died off.
I can't. I'll never go back. I told my company, put it right beside California and New York.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been doing construction for 20 years now up there.
Yeah, I was up there a couple months ago, and I didn't care for it then, and don't think a whole lot now.
It's funny that we're talking about parking and everything. I mean, that's probably one of the big traveled areas right there between Milwaukee and Chicago. It's a busy highway, lots of shippers and receivers right there, but there's not hardly any truck stops along that route. I mean, there's a few when you get into Milwaukee right there, but there's not any hardly in Illinois at all. And then parts of it's even part like a toll road where you got to rely on, that kind of parking, which is bad. I mean, they, it's so funny. We're talking about parking like that, and the toll roads, they went in and said, well, we're going to build a bigger area. And yeah, they got this huge parking lot for all these cars, but the trucking area is still small, and they didn't do anything, didn't really help anything out at all, not like Ohio did. Now, Ohio, they did a pretty good thing where they put showers in and all that stuff too. So, I mean, at least they tried.
I was headed to the Silver Slipper Saloon. There's enough truck park on that lot for probably I don't know, 200 trucks, and only 5 or 6 ever go in there.
I don't know where that's
I
at.
don't know.
Big company. Big companies don't want to put their trucks on a stripper parking lot.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I was told a few years back by Rich, the one that I bought my truck off of, before he retired. That's what he used to do. He'd go down from here to he always run down south, down Georgia, Florida. Where he used to go down and go to all the strip joints down there, and he'd park out back. Well, when I got his truck and he cleaned everything out, I found a card in there that had a phone number on the back of it from one of the stripper card. And I handed it to him one day over there, you know, being the wise ass that I am, always cutting up, carrying on, Tiff, and all of them was over there. I said, hey, Rich, you might want this card back. He said, why? I said, well, your girlfriend down there at whatever it wasn't a Deja Vu. It was, I can't think of the name of it now. I said, you might want her phone number. It's right on the back. He said, oh, no, he turned all red face. He said, oh, no. That ain't what that is. That's the manager's phone number there. He'd give me that card, put his number on. Said, if I had any problem parking out there, anybody started bothering me, just call him. He'd come out and run him off. I said, yeah, that's what they all say. But he used to all the time. He used parking place all the time, but me, anymore, I don't care. I pull right up in behind the scales. I don't care. And I didn't think I'd ever do that as old school as I am, but anymore, I will. If I get tired, I will right up in behind one of the scales. If they're closed, pull up there and go to bed. The only one I won't do that in is Tennessee. Tennessee will not. I won't even cross their scales, let alone sleep in the scale.
You know,
Kentucky, I'll go up in there, sleep all day, right there behind the scale house. I don't care.
There you go.
Yeah, I tell you, me either, especially Kentucky. They even got driver lounges in most of theirs now.
Yeah, I have never had any trouble out of Kentucky. Tennessee, me and them boys was on a first name basis for years. I don't like them. They don't like me. I'll keep it that way.
Man, oh man. Well, and on that note, the number one stripper song in the world, talking about parking at strip joints. Hey, sometimes those are the best places, though. Like you're saying, nobody parks there.
Them and men's bookstores, there's a lot of truck parking on it. You don't have to worry about getting hit because the big companies don't like them. Their company drivers going in there.
You know what, though? There was a store, like you're saying, an adult bookstore, videos, whatever, but it was right there down the street from the Walmart DC up there in Denton or north of Denton, whatever town that was. But it's the Walmart warehouse out in the middle of nowhere.
Loveland.
Yeah. And
Loveland, Texas, the DC up there. I went down there, delivered. I had some pods or something on there, and it's not there anymore. They leveled it out. It's a dirt lot now.
What the?
Yeah. See, you was hanging out down there too much.
No, I would go into that Walmart DC a lot, and that's where I would go to park because there's like 2 truck stops. There's a Flying J down there, or a Pilot, whatever, and that's a cluster. And then there's another, like, I think it's a Valero now, but it's a dirt lot, and it's just a bad part of town.
Man, oh man. But yeah, that is one of the I mean, like everybody, you know, a lot of times you always get it where, oh, we don't want truckers. They bring all that bad element around here and all that. But why is that, you think? Well, we see them parked over there at the strip club or parked over there at the adult bookstore or whatever. And it's like, man, they're just parking. We just trying to find a place to park. We just want an empty parking lot, you know? And I mean, I just, a lot of those places, they got big empty gravel lots. They're easy to get in, easy to get out. And, you know, no pun intended. So, but I mean, it's just the way, that's what it is. We just need a place to get off the highway. But yeah, you know, I think a lot of people would be would be surprised at the I don't know, just truck stops bring great business. They're always busy, and truckers are always spending money. So I think a lot of local communities would like that revenue coming into their local areas. So that's all I got to say about that.
Well,
I just wish they'd bring back the trucking lot entertainment, the truck parking lot entertainment.
What? What are you talking about?
no.
Well,
Dad.
don't answer the question, Ed. Use your imagination.
Ed, don't go down that rabbit hole.
Well, you know, that's
It was fun.
the only thing I'm thinking of is the CB entertainment. That's all I know about.
It was always fun
it's
watching
going
the
back
little
to-
rabbits play.
Oh, Jesus.
It's time to go to a commercial break.
Yep. Cue the music. Hey, it's after 8 o'clock anyway. We're all wrapped up around here. I think we're all done. I think you guys are having a great night, and everything's great. So appreciate everybody for joining in, calling in, listening along, following along. Like I said, we're on YouTube Live and Facebook Live as well. I hope all the sound was good for that.
Be good.
What's
Be a
that?
good future topic. What do you think?
I don't need to talk about it at all. I'm good. Do you want to go talk about it? You
All right.
walk into them TAs and start talking about it. They love to talk to you about that.
All right.
Hey,
Good
if you
night.
find someone in the
Yep.
TAs or veterans to talk to,
No kidding. Nobody talks. Everybody, like I said, they're all in their offices. They're hidden away. You know, a lot of those. When I go to an old TA or an old Petro, they've got all these empty rooms with boxes and stuff in them because it used to be this huge truck stop, and they just shut it all down because they can't make any money off of it. So what's the use of having it? You know, it doesn't provide anything that they want.
Isn't it the Petro down in Glendale, Kentucky, still have this phone booth, but they have a bunch of boxes in them?
Yeah, I think so. I've seen Flying J's like that. You know,
Yeah.
just like the Petro in Atlanta had, or even the one in West Memphis. Of course, we know these are bad areas. They're not well as far as, like, you know, there's a lot of crime and a lot of stuff going on around there. But they have these little shopping strip centers with different businesses, and it was really convenient for truck drivers to be able to go to those businesses and get things done, whether it be to work on the CB, get some taxes done. You know, they have like occupational health stuff like that, get physicals and everything. Well, they've even shut all that stuff down where it's just empty. It's just empty places, you know. So that's what they've done. So yeah, but
They pretty much ran everybody out.
exactly because they raised the rent too high, and you know, truck drivers don't. I mean, I guess we're not using it enough, I guess is what they claim it. But anyway, like I said, it's after 8 o'clock. I think we did a good show, and I think I want to wrap it up. Try to catch the latest episode of Yellowstone.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. See you go to the train station tonight.
Awesome. Yeah, I do. Do like the going to the train station. If you guys go on the app, I think I'm gonna do a video about this, explaining how to get on there. But if you go to the app of the Paramount Network, that is where you can watch the latest season 4 past episodes if you need to catch them later or whatever. But also they've got the behind the scenes videos that you can watch, and that stuff's really cool because you can go in and see it, and they just talk to all the different actors, and you get their opinions, and you meet some different people, and they've got this thing where they have a bunkhouse session where all the guys in the bunkhouse talk about what they think about the show and what they think, and it's just funny. It's fun and entertaining, and it's cool to see different people's perspective, especially when they actually talk with the writer. If you guys watch the second episode, the guy Travis, the guy that has the character that has the horses that he's trying to hire to train horses, that's Taylor Sheridan. That is the writer of the show, the creator of the show. Taylor Sheridan plays the character Travis on Yellowstone.
Hey.
Yep. But he's been on there in the past, and now he's back. So
Ed, you kind of have to stop right there because Greg hasn't. I don't know if he's caught up. He should be caught up. He had all week to watch the shows.
No, I'm caught up, man. I've had enough time at home. I'm up, man. I'm ready for tonight.
Hell yeah. Let's do it. All right.
I got to see that thing on Facebook today. It said what the Republican Party needs now is a few less Lynn Cheneys and a lot more Beths.
Yeah. Beth Dutton.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that's going to be fun. See how she.
All right.
All right now.
I'm out of here, guys.
Good deal. All right now.
Talk to you next week.
All right, I'm out of here too.
All right. Sounds good.
Have a good one.
Later.
All right now. Good deal. Good deal. All right. Well, everybody have a great evening out there. Like I said, we're going to shut it down and get to watching some Yellowstone. So thank you for Facebook Live over there for everybody watching, and appreciate people watching on YouTube Live. And let's knock it out. This is Redneckanize Radio. We're live here Sunday evening, 7 o'clock Eastern time. There won't be a show the week of Thanksgiving or the week of Christmas. We know because of travel plans with the family and all that. But also there won't be, like I said, we'll still have shows the other weeks, like 7 o'clock Eastern time, Sunday evening. You can call in at 516-387-1733. Be part of the conversation. Just hit 1. Like I said, we're also on YouTube Live, Facebook Live. Go check us out at redneckanize.com. And don't forget to check out all our sponsors, DPF Regeneration, Trucker Tools, the Trucker Tools app, and, of course, LTR Transportation, Load to Ride Transportation. Go check those out, and we appreciate everybody for following along. Until next time, keep between the ditches, and we'll see you on down the road. It's Redneckanize Radio.
Rocket